Shut up and sit down.
Hello everyone and welcome to USA International Speedway for round 2 of season 24 of the Reddit iRacing League. We're at round 2 in this season, and that brings us to an oval course here. We've got USA International Speedway in Lakeland, Florida, and this week they're driving the Legends Ford 34 Coupe Rookie around here for what I believe will be a 30-minute race. I'm David Haynes. In the production is Michael Derby, and joining me in the commentary box is Aaron Thacker.
David, good evening, sir. It was always a pleasure to join you, and I cannot wait for 30 minutes of a quarter-mile, four-corner track where that bottom line, David, is you got to hug it like you want to hug a grizzly bear, but not get too close because it'll bite you.
Yeah, precisely. So qualifying just wrapping up right now, about 90 seconds to go with that. And once that's done, we'll bring you the qualifying order. But about the race, 30 minutes around here will be quite a few laps, more than you might normally expect around a short course. And there is a fuel limitation of 25%. So we will probably be expecting pit stops for fuel at some point during this race. That's something that could keep it a little bit spicy over the 30 minutes.
It definitely will keep it spicy, and we take a quick look at the track temp. David, it is down in Florida, may I say, a brisk 65 degrees. There's probably some fans out there wearing some winter coats. So once that bottom line gets nice and heated up, as I kind of stated earlier, you're going to want to stay down there unless a second groove manages to work its way in. But a very chilly ambient temperature and a equally chilly track temperature tonight.
Yeah, if Florida is anything like Queensland, spoiler alert, it kind of is. If it drops below about 90 Fahrenheit, people will be wearing long pants and jackets. So certainly out there tonight, taking a look at the fans, quite a few of them in t-shirts, but that's because they were programmed by people from Massachusetts.
Of course, of course. David, I'm just taking a quick look at some of these lap times, and I think a series favorite, and most definitely at this track, probably a fan favorite right now, Jordan Babcock is at the top of the timing sheet.
Yeah, that's fantastic for Mr. Babcock. A quick sort of what happened in this season. Point standings: in first is Giovanni Romano, in second is Tom Ellison, and third is Sven Demel, who isn't here tonight. So that's the current state of play, as we'll bring you your qualifying order. So on pole, as you said, Jordan Babcock. Starting alongside him on the outside be John Patrick, JP from Texas. Second row is Daniel Bartz and Devin Peters. Behind them will be Philip Nugent and Alex Coffard. Row behind, the always improving, maybe not always qualifying well, but always races well, is Antonio Alvarez. And then on the outside is defending champ Giovanni Romano and your current championship leader, so starting back in 8th place. Take us through the next 8, Aaron.
David, I apologize for the delay there.
It's okay.
Sorry about that. And next we have Jeremy Rogers, John Honecker, Theodore Burns, Andrew Fawcett, Justin Lamons, Shane Cameron, and Chad Clark run through the rest of our top 15. Down in 16, we have Brian Beeman, Justin Hull, Brian Molitor, Mark Antonucci, Colby Collins in P20, Alex Albert with a difficult qualifying time in P21, Alex Taylor 22, Jonathan Dixon, Matthew Fox, Thomas Ellison in P25, Ryan Verhulst, Kyle Amian, and no qualifying time for Michael Derby because he is up here in the commentary box. I believe he just did a joy lap out there, David.
Yeah, sure. Good to have a director with a circuit. So just 10 seconds until that iRacing pace car sets off for what will be 2 warm-up laps, I believe. Will be 2 to green. And then that car will pull off and the field will be controlled by pole sitter Jordan Babcock.
We are in for a heck of a show tonight. As we stated, the bottom line is really important here, but these cars also possess a very persuasive metal rebar bumper, David, and I expect that is probably going to be used a few times tonight if anybody gets a bit frustrated, or you just need to let somebody know that you're there.
Yeah, precisely. Circuit layout's a little bit of a paperclip. We've got these straights and the slightly kind of tight turns, a little lovely bit of banking, and as you say, we expect that the lower line through there will be the fastest, probably all race long, so getting past will be a challenge as all the cars are now rolling behind that roof pace car. I'm not sure if that's tradition for Floridian short tracks, but you know, sure enough, it's doing a good enough job. As there'll be 1 more lap before we get started for 30 minutes of racing, which might be as many as 70 laps.
David, as you mentioned, there will be a pit stop needed. I cannot tires because this is your traditional lug nut car where you need to hand wrench, and so no time for tires here, David. Just a splash and go likely. No tires.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair analysis of the optimal pit strategy for this car. So now Jordan Babcock in the number 30 has the pace car pull away in front of him, and he jumps. It's a good jump. Dan Bart's on the inside in 28, nearly got a good run towards second place, but in the end he has to drop back. So the order they started is the order they go. The 911 of Devin Peters nearly getting to the inside of the 7 of JP there, Aaron.
Yeah, that was a great little move there, and they're getting a bit stacked up here in the back number car 35, or excuse me, car number 26. Phil Nugent has a great move on the inside there. These guys are all straightening out in a nice straight line, not straight line, a nice single file line. I think that's what they need to do right now, figure out the track. It's a nice cool track, but Jordan Babcock has got himself a comfy little lead here.
Yep, he got a great qualifying time and then a great jump off the start. Our biggest moves so far is that Devin Peters got past Daniel Bartz. From 5th down through to 11th, though, they're basically where they started, even though Alex Coffard in the 127 nearly got past the 26. Biggest mover so far is deeper in the field with the 33 car. Alex Albert telling us he had a pretty poor qualifying, but he's moved up 4 spots since then. He's feeling very racy. He goes to the low line, gets great drive off the corner and passes another car, the 164 of Justin Hall. So now 5 spots gained for Alex Albert, who, disappointed with his qualifying time, is now racing very, very well indeed. He's going to close up soon to the number 22 and the number 94 as well, Aaron.
Yeah, he's doing a great job here, but on the other end of the spectrum, I have watched Andrew Fawcett unfortunately just plummet through the field. I'm not sure if he had an issue at the very start. He's got a steering issue, hardware issue, but David, unlike Alex Albert, Andrew Fawcett has had a very challenging start to this race, and we've got some side-by-side action heating up now.
Yep. Another position gained for the number 33 car. Up ahead, there's some action as well. The 06, or is that the 60, I think, of Justin Lamons. Yet the 60 on the outside of the 89 John Honecker. So Justin Lamons still managing to hold that outside line. The front right tyres on these cars will start to wear down a little bit. They'll pick up a little bit of understeer, but riding that higher line, still just holding on, is that number 60 car, but it doesn't look like he's going to complete a pass up high. And they are too wide even further up with Antonio Alvarez. We say he always likes to race well, always gains some positions through the race, and he's picked up 1 spot from where he started. He's now having to defend against Phil Nugent and Giovanni Romano, defending champion, behind him.
Yeah, Philip Nugent and Giovanni Romano, I think they went side by side for about 4 laps there. Finally, Philip Nugent gave up the position. I think he realizes he needs to get himself back down there. And David, he gives up another spot, 2 spots here, possibly 3 entering the turn 3-4 complex here. And he's made some contact as well, David. Man, Philip Nugent just needs to get back down because, David, he is losing a whole boatload of spots right now.
Yeah, he's currently, I'm seeing that as down in 14th position, maybe even further, and he's gonna maybe get passed around the outside by the 15 car, Chad Clark. No, he'll just hold on to that, but down 8 positions is Philip Nugent. I think he just got on the high line, and then a train of cars came through, and there just wasn't a gap for him to get back down low. He was just hung out to dry. So quickly we'll look down the order, because now Jordan Babcock, leading the race, has pulled out more than a 1 second gap for the first time. That is a slightly dominant lead over second place John Patrick, who's acting as a little bit of a cork in the bottle, I think. He's got Devin Peters right behind him there, unable to make a pass. Not far behind that at all is Devin Peters, as Daniel Bartz, but Devin Peters is going to get underneath John Patrick for second place. JP just pushing a little bit wide, so side by side, door to door they go. And now I think that pass is done for Devin Peters. No, it's not quite yet, but he has the nose in front. As they go side by side, Daniel Bartz looks on with anticipation as he'll try and get his nose underneath John Patrick as well.
Yeah, I really think Don Patrick's in a bad spot here. Oh, and he even taps the wall coming out of turn 2 there. That is going to give it to Daniel Bartz. So Daniel Bartz moving himself up very quickly. John Patrick had a rough couple laps there, just really getting stuck on the outside by Devin Peters. He needs to fall back in line, get that right front cooled off, and hopefully run some good laps and get himself a few spots back, because he's had a very good race so far.
Yeah, and now right behind him with a little bit of a run, it's the 127 of Alex Coffard, who backs out of sticking his nose down the inside. It's 5 cars running very closely together here, because Antonio Alvarez in that 20 has managed to sort his race out as well. He's right on the back of this train. And I think if Coffard doesn't make a move soon, Alvarez will do it for him. And then a bit further back behind that, in 7th place, with a little bit of a gap, Giovanni Romano leads a little bit of a train over Theodore Burns behind him. That's a relatively new name to me, but up 3 positions from where he started, running inside the top 10 now. So good race so far, as we're past 5 minutes done for Theodore Burns, who's got Justin Lehmans right behind him. Gonna maybe have a little replay of the 33 car, because they've just been involved in a little bit of an incident. Get right down to the low line, get a good run, and just given a little tap to the 68 car. That's pardon me, that's John Honecker, who I think will not be so happy with that. But Alex
wrestled the wheel out of his hand and just scared the crap out of it. Really unfortunate for Giovanni Romano to see that.
So Devin Peters has managed to get a little bit clear of that pack through the pit stops. He's putting in some good times. So second place, Devin Peters now has a bit of a gap over third place, which is definitely a train where some of the right now. Daniel Bartz has got a lapped car in front of him in the 28 car. So he'll move to the inside, try and get through that. But Antonio Alvarez doing pretty well through the pit stop sequence to grab fourth place, following right along and hoping to potentially grab what I think would be his first podium of season 24. So he's doing a great job just tailing along behind Daniel Bartz there. Not too far behind them. It's Justin Lehmans, who we've got to commend. He's doing a great job up 8 spots from where he qualified, dragging along Theodore Burns, John Patrick, who makes his way through some of those lapped cars and is pulling along Alex Coffard and the last car of that train in 9th position, Jeremy Rogers.
Yeah, this is a really tight train. And David, I'm a little confused by what Chris Fleming is here doing. Fleming is really blocking these guys who are on the lead lap. Chris Fleming is not on the lead lap. He's really getting in the way of some of these guys who are having some genuine battles. I'm glad they were able to work around them. But I don't entirely agree with Fleming's strategy, trying to stay competitive. I understand, but these guys are all racing for position here.
Yeah, the 37 did just give the low line to the 58 of Jeremy Rogers that time. He's slowly letting him through, but maybe fair enough, he's not jumping out of his way to let everyone else through, and he's still setting relatively competitive times. And in fact, he might be in a battle of his own. No, he's not. Then he's got to let the 94 car through as well. Shane Cameron and Chad Clark in 11th place, though, having a little battle. So Shane Cameron holding on to that one. Chad Clark faster on through, closes the gap down a little bit. They cross the stripe once more, and my timing screen updates, and Chad Clark that time by 0.02 of a second faster. So he's got there, he's closed the gap just a tiny bit more. Shane Cameron throws the car half a car width to the inside down the straight, just to say, I'm not going to let you outbrake me on the inside, not going to let you have the low line. But this time Chad Clark gets a much better run off turns 3 and 4, and I think Shane Cameron realizes not a whole lot he can do about that. So to the inside goes Chad Clark. He gets clear, overlap done, and he gets to track all the way out on the exit of the corner, carry the speed, and I think, whoa, Shane Cameron dives back to the inside again to try and grab that spot back. So they go too wide through turns 3 and 4, side by side over the stripe into turns 1 and 2. Great little battle there for 11th place.
This is a lot of fun to watch. These guys are going over, under. Shane Cameron is running a little bit of a different line. It seems like all these guys are running different entries. Chad Clark is hitting a bit of a Devin Peters angle where he's coming in real high, then diving in really deep. And David, I don't know if you're seeing it on your screen, but I'm seeing a little bit of blinking from Shane Cameron. I hope that's not happening on Chad Clark's end, because that can really be distracting. But anyway, don't want to take away from the battle from these guys. Chad Clark is also doing a little bit of a kiss in the apron, which on the apex can give you a little extra bite and possibly a little more drive off the corner.
Yep. Looking at third position, though, Antonio Alvarez has managed to get his way through into third position, and a bit of traffic balking the guys behind. Justin Lehmans manages to also get his way through on Daniel Bartz. That's the 17 car of Brian Molitor, who was doing a good job of getting out of the way of the traffic earlier, but now he's cost a bit of a run, and Theodore Burns also potentially struggling to get through. So into the podium positions is Antonio Alvarez now, and he's been gifted just a couple car lengths of gap as well over the pursuing Justin Lehmans.
David, let's not forget, so far, the man of the race, Jordan Babcock. After pit stops, he has reclaimed himself a 3.2 second lead. He's getting ready to run into some lap traffic, but I don't think that's going to falter him at all. Jordan Babcock has proven himself with just over 6 minutes left in this race, seemingly to be absolutely unbeatable. If he can keep his nose clean, David, I think this is his race from checker to checker flag, from green to checker flag.
Yeah, exactly. He's a man who likes turning left, so this is a race that managed to suit him, as has been separated from the battle in front. He's now a second behind Daniel Bartz. He's got Jeremy Rogers and Theodore Burns behind. There's another battle deeper in the pack, though, for 17th place. So Matthew Fox in the 3 car is going to try and work his way past that 12. It's separated by 0.23 of a second, but they got, or a little bit more than that actually, and they got 2 cars between them, but they are within a second on the circuit.
Yeah, he's going to have to be patient. He's got a bit of a lap traffic in front of him, but some very consistent laps. He's running a 24.8, which is competitive with that group just outside the top 10, but he's working with some lap traffic on the outside. I think Mark Fox, he's running himself a nice crate, and his pace is consistent, David.
Yeah, that 7 and the 15 are coming through. So now John Patrick goes to the inside of Ryan Verhulst to put a lap on him, makes him take the high line. I assume Chad Clark will do the same, and that will give a little bit of an advantage to Matthew Fox, who's already let those lapped cars through. The biggest battle, and that's a battle in itself there, the 7th and the 15th, as John Patrick gets through on Ryan Verhulst, and Chad Clark hasn't yet. So this is a chance for JP from Texas to pull out a little bit of a gap. Someone's hit the wall behind there. Who is that? On their roof is Kyle Smith. He's had a very terrible run just there. Maybe grab a...
Daniel Bartz is also on his roof. Daniel Bartz is also on his roof. He was in our top 5, David. That was a big incident for Daniel Bartz. He has now taken a tow and in the pits, missing his entire right side fenders.
Oh, that's massively unfortunate for Bartz, who was running in the podium positions not long ago. So we'll have a replay of that one, Aaron.
Yeah, David, I think this was just a hardware failure. He came out of the corner, was turning left, and the car just kept turning left at full throttle. I think he may have had a hardware issue. That is an absolute shame for Daniel Bartz, because he was running one heck of a race, and my goodness, was that a hard hit, David. He's likely done, as I worry for a hardware failure on this one.
Yeah, that's a real shame for that to happen so late in the race for Daniel Bartz. I bet he's going to be absolutely bummed about that one. Top 5, though, Alex Coffard and Jeremy Rogers. So now the positions for the podium have all spaced out a little bit. Jordan Babcock, Devin Peters, Antonio Alvarez. But this is your highest up battle, as on the last lap, Jeremy Rogers took 1 of a second out of Alex Coffard. Both of these guys having a good run, and with what's going to be 7 laps to go, if Rogers is going to get up there and make a pass, it's going to happen pretty quickly. Otherwise, he will flat out run out of time.
I think they will run out of time, but I don't think at this point, as we mentioned, these guys did not take tires, because these tires on these cars are pretty much can be found on the same car as you drive, David. A lovely gas-sipping Toyota Prius. But I think at this point in the race, the crack does have a little rubber down. These guys are probably suffering a little bit, so maybe some alternative lines, and we're definitely watching that with Kyle Rogers and Alexander Copper. Both these guys are trying to figure out where they can get the most grip, and hopefully Rogers is possibly teeing up for a move here. But David, we are just under 2 minutes now left in this race.
Yeah, so more battles as well down the order. I think one of the great ones right now for 11th place, Shane Cameron and John Honecker. John Honecker qualified pretty well, and he's hoping to grab a position back. He's looking pretty racy behind Shane Cameron. So close that up to maybe just 2 car lengths between them. Gets down to a little bit of a lower line, does the 89 of John Honecker. Gets a better run out. Will he look to the inside of turn 3? He does, and Shane Cameron stays a little bit high, so this is an opportunity for Honecker to get a better run off turn 4, and he gets that. They're door-to-door over the stripe. The inside line belongs to John Honecker, but he's got a slower car down there, the 37 of Flamion, but he manages to clear that, and that's a position gain for John Honecker at the expense of Shane Cameron. So up into 11th place goes the 89 car of John Honecker, and suddenly Devin Peters is looking a little bit troubled, but Antonio Alvarez has closed that gap down to under a second. It's not probably not close enough that he'll be able to close it in 2 laps, but great pace late in the race from Antonio Alvarez, and it feels like in Reddit iRacing League, that's something we're constantly saying.
It really is Antonio Alvarez. He is Mr. Inconsistent on qualifying, but he is Mr. Consistent when it comes to gaining 10 or more spots in a race, and he's always seen as a strong racer at the very end, and he's proving it to do it right here, David. He has gained yet another 10th at the end of this race. He is now 0.65 just behind.
So out of turn 2 comes Jordan Babcock on the final lap. He's already received the white flag. The time will elapse now. He comes through turn 3. He comes through turn 4, and so except for the pit stop sequence, leading every lap from pole position, now taking the checkered flag, and your winner in Reddit iRacing League Season 24 Round 2 is... The fireworks go off here in Florida to celebrate his victory. Devin Peters holds on to second. Third place across the line, Antonio Alvarez. Looking a bit further down, the only battle still to work out is Shane Cameron and Chad Clark, and I think Shane Cameron will hold on to that one. So 30 minutes, 72 laps of racing, 1 pit stop, and Jordan Babcock is going to stop that car on the pit straight, do some very celebratory burnouts with however much fuel he's got left, probably only 1 lap or so, and he gets slammed into by the 33 of Alex Albert, who probably didn't quite have the race he was hoping for. Nonetheless, we'll run down things now. So your winner, as I mentioned, commandingly must have led 70 of the 72 laps. Number 30 of Jordan Babcock takes his first win season. Following him behind is Devin Peters in the 911, and finishing the podium up 3 positions, Antonio Alvarez. 4th place is Justin Lehman's. 5th, Alex Coffard, holding off Jeremy Rogers to the end. 7th, Theodore Burns, and 8th, Alex Albert, up 13 positions. I think he is our Dickens Cider hard charger of the race. Yes, that's correct. No one else with more positions gained. So Alex Albert, coming from well down in the qualifying order to 8th, our Dickens Cider hard charger. Then in 9th, John Patrick. 10th, John Honecker. 11th, Shane Cameron. 12th, Chad Clark. 13th, Tom Ellison gains 12 positions, 1 less than Alex Albert, and just misses out on that hard charger. But still, a good recovery drive through the field from Tom Ellison. 14th will go to Colby Collins. 15th, Mark Antonucci. 16th, the Minnesota Menace, Ryan Verholst. 17th, Matthew Fox. 18th, Brian Molitor finishes where he started. A poor race from the man who won the first round of the championship. And so, consequently, not the championship defense in round 2 that Giovanni Romano wanted. He finishes 19th, 2 laps off the lead. 20th, Christopher Flamion. 21st, Daniel Bartz. 22nd, Brian Beeman. 23rd, Andrew Fawcett, Mr. Drippy. 24th goes to Philip Nugent. 26th, Jonathan Dixon. Some issues and some unfortunate problems for Kyle Smith, Andrew Taylor, and Justin Hall. And not making the start because he had much more important work to attend to is Mr. Michael Derby. And your thoughts on that race really quickly, Aaron, before we see if we can grab someone for an interview.
Of that massive field. I just want to say this absolute heartbreak for Daniel Bartz. It was starting in P3, running a very strong race, finishing out in P21. And also Philip Nugent. I'd love to figure out what happened to Philip. Just a fantastic P5 qualifying time. David, he struggled from start to finish, finishing out in P24. So tough race for Philip Nugent. But man, what a showing by Jordan Babcock tonight. And hopefully we get to talk to him in just a moment.
Yep, exactly. So our winner of round 2, season 24 of the Reddit iRacing League is Mr. Jordan Babcock. Do we have you here? Well, congratulations on a pretty dominant win, taking that pole position, starting from the front row, leading just about every lap except for around the pit stops. What is it about a short track like this that favors your driving style? And about the fuel, we saw just about everyone having to pit at almost exactly the halfway point. Very, very narrow fuel window. Did you have to do anything for conservation, or was it just enough fuel to go flat out the full 30 minutes?
Well, there was some alternative in the practice, so I was saving a little bit early, but then once I looked at the numbers, I knew I could have gone a little closer to 40, more than halfway, so after that I just quit lifting.
Yeah, so, I mean, early in the season still to talk about this, but with some points on the board in the first round, a win in round 2, do you think you could maybe trouble the top 5 or top 3 of the championship standings at the end of this?
Good season last season with 6. So my goal this season is top 5. I don't think I'll manage top 3, but anything can happen, I guess. All the ovals have to go my way, though, so I'm not that good on the road.
Well, you've done a great job here early in the season to pick up a win, and I'm sure that will increase your chances. Thanks for the word with us. Any quick thanks while we've got you?
Just thanks to you guys for doing the stream. It's awesome. I love watching it after the race.
Well, thanks so much, Jordan Babcock. Once again, congratulations to you. And I think we can grab second place finisher, Mr. Devin Peters. And he is standing by right now with my comrade, Aaron Thack.
Devin Peters, welcome to the Boxer. Strong finish in a P2 with a grid of P4. What was it like out there? You pretty much stepped on the gas at the start of the race and stayed really consistent. What did it feel like out there driving up to a P2 and also dealing with some traffic tonight?
It felt pretty good. I mean, I figured out that Babs was lifting and saving a little bit at the start of the race, so I started to do the same, and turns out that lifting at an oval is faster than braking at an oval. So I just kept doing that for the whole race, and people crashed in front of me and got out of the way in second place.
One of the things that Jordan Babcock and you mentioned as well, maybe doing some lifting. What was the fuel strategy here? I mean, you really could not stretch it any more laps than when kind of everybody else came in. Did you start to sputter when you entered your pit stop, or did you play it safe?
I sputtered at the line on my last and then about 3 more times on the back straight. I hadn't practiced going into the pits at full speed during practice, so it was kind of a good thing that I didn't have any fuel when I was coasting down to my pit box, because I would have probably messed up the pit entry.
Totally understand. But no, congratulations, man. Fantastic drive tonight. Any thanks or kudos you want to shout out?
Thank you very much to all the fans for coming out and watching, and thanks as always to Mr. Hugh, Jass. The whole racing scene wouldn't be possible without.
Thank you, sir. That was Devin Peters, your P2 finisher for tonight. Mr. Director, let's see if we can get Mr. Antonio Alvarez, our P3, up in the booth.
Yeah, we do have Antonio Alvarez kicking around the paddock, and he was our 3rd place finisher. Do you have a copy, Antonio?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, fantastic. So up 4 positions from where you started. Really used to now seeing you in Reddit iRacing League. You're making some moves up through the field. Qualifying maybe not always your forte, but racing really well to get a podium tonight.
Yeah, it was a good race. I started cautiously, so I didn't want to be too aggressive, but I started to work towards the front maybe after the first 10 minutes, and it worked quite well.
Now, we saw just about everyone pit at the halfway point. Did you have to do anything for fuel conservation to make it on one stop, or was it just right?
Well, actually, maybe I played too long in the first thing, and in the last lap I was losing speed already, so I could have pitted earlier. Also, in the last lap, same thing happened. I lost a couple seconds.
Well, you did just Justin Layman's for that final step on the podium, and I think your first points of this season. So congratulations on that. What was the traffic like? Obviously, a 30-minute race around a short track like this, there was quite a few lapped down cars to deal with. How did you go about that? Were they well behaved?
Yeah, everybody was pretty. You have to be really patient so they can give you room, but everybody eventually got out of the way, and no complaints about that.
Well, it's great to have you back once again in Reddit iRacing League. Do you think you'll manage to make it to all of the remaining rounds of the season?
Well, I hope so. I couldn't be, but you never know what happens.
Well, thanks so much for having the time to speak with us. Any thanks while you're on the broadcast?
No, really. Thank you for you guys for broadcasting and for the mods, and see you next time.
That's as good a sign out as any. Thanks so much, Antonio. Right, well, that just about wraps up all of our coverage here from Season 24, Round 2 of the Reddit iRacing League. Rookie Legends Ford 34 Coupe at USA International. Thanks so much, everyone who competed. Thank you for tuning in to our broadcast. We are Jass Broadcasting Corporation. We've got some more broadcasts coming up next week. There's no Reddit iRacing League because it's Martin Luther King Day or something like that. I'm reading on the schedule here. But in 2 weeks' time, we'll be back for round 3 of Reddit iRacing League. January 27th, it'll be the Spec Racer Ford at Tsukuba Full, a track that we're rather fond of here at HJBC. So hopefully you'll join us for that one. We've got coverage starting up soon of the Champ Car Sim series. Very excited to bring you season 2 of that fantastic championship, paying out some big prizes as well for real world racing. Excited to bring you that. So make sure you do subscribe to Team Hugh Jass here. We bring you some in-car coverage of some of our races as well, both sim and real in the Champ Car Endurance Series. I've been David Haynes. Alongside me has been Aaron Thacker, and doing the real work, the hard work, the thankless work, it's Michael Derby. Thank you so much, and we'll see you around. Good night.